The Haunted Mansion marks the latest film that is based on a Disney ride. So today, let's rank all the films from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name is Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Leave your list down below. How would you rank all of the films that are based on Disney rides? The Pirates of the Caribbean ones, the Haunted Mansion ones. There are a lot of films that are based on rides and many more that are coming out in the near future. Coming in last place is Dinosaur. Dinosaur was based on the Animal Kingdom ride Countdown to Extinction. The movie and the ride were being developed at the same time. I did not enjoy this movie as a kid, and even as an adult, I don't really care for it. It's very bland. The story drags throughout. The characters are unlikable. The mixture of the animation with live action sets doesn't work much within this film. And even as the characters were facing extinction, I didn't feel any emotion towards these characters and their journey. I had a hard time watching it as a child, and I've watched it a few times as an adult, but Dinosaur has never stuck with me and is easily one of the worst Disney animated films and the worst one based on a Disney ride. Coming in at number 12 is The Country Bears. This is based on the Country Bears Jamboree, and the attraction actually closed a few months before this film's release. So a lot of people didn't believe that this film would be successful because of closing the attraction and having this movie released a couple months after that. This movie's bad. Some of the music's good in here, and I like the story of trying to bring this band back together, but there's really no heart to it. The performances in here try to add for a lot of comedy when it doesn't need to have comedy, when it could just be a very heartfelt film about friendship and music that could easily be a pretty decent story, but it goes for this more comedic route that doesn't really add anything to the story. But the bears, they're absolutely terrifying. They don't look good in here. It's so hard to appreciate the designs for them when it looks absolutely bad. I did like some of the relationships that were developed throughout the film, and you do feel the genuine connection that the bears had, but it's hard to look at. But there is some good music throughout the film, but that's about it for the Country Bears. Coming in at number 11 is Tomorrowland. This isn't based on one single attraction, more of the section of Disneyland, Tomorrowland. This stars George Clooney, and I remember seeing it when it was first released and absolutely forgetting about this film. And that's how I felt about it watching it again, is that it's easily forgettable. There's not much in here to really latch onto. The story, the characters, the visuals are really good in here. It does at times have this fun sense of adventure, but quickly forgets about it once we are introduced to Tomorrowland. There's a lot of times that this film easily could have built off of that theme park concept, and it forgets a lot of what makes that part of Disneyland works so well. It spent little time within that space of Tomorrowland, and we're not able to develop our characters throughout the film. There's hardly any references to Tomorrowland, where a lot of the films, even like the Pirates of the Caribbean films and the Haunted Mansion films, will have references to that ride. Certain moments throughout the ride, the themes, the scores, whatever it is, a lot of those movies will fit something into it. With Tomorrowland, I feel like it was absent a lot throughout the film. But overall, Tomorrowland, a pretty hollow movie, despite a really good idea that could work and stunning visuals. Coming in at number 10 is Tower of Terror. This was a special for Wonderful World of Disney in 1997 and is based on the Hollywood Tower of Terror ride in Disneyland, Disney World. It's no longer in Disneyland. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout ride. I absolutely love the ride Hollywood Tower of Terror. I love the opening. I love I love the structure of the building, the era that it's in, and at times this film does match that. The opening is really good. It follows part of the ride as well. And you have a really good story within the beginning. It's matching the air, the costume designs, the score. A lot of it just feels like coming out of that ride. And that's why I like this film a lot. It's not the best thing, and also at times it feels not as developed as other films. But it's goofy, it's entertaining in the right ways. And I like that part of the movie was filmed at the Florida location, so it just really feels very genuine when it comes to the appreciation of the ride. It's a fun film, not the best thing ever, but it is fine as a special released on television. Coming in at number 9 is Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. I was disappointed with this movie. It's a really bland movie despite a fun adventure. I remember the time period from At World's End and then on Stranger's Tide, thinking that we weren't going to get another Pirates film, and seeing this one in theaters, I really missed the dynamics of our three characters, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, and Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp does a great job once again in this film, but our new additions from Penelope Cruz and Ian McShane don't do much to hold this film together. The story is disjointed, it's all over the place, and it's not as meaty as the first three films in terms of its story. It's weaker compared to those other three films. Rob Marshall as the director gives a more cleaner approach to this movie compared to some of the grittier ones that Gore Verbinski did with the first three films. So there's some things to appreciate about On Stranger Tides, a different direction compared to the first three films, and Johnny Depp still once again great as Jack Sparrow, but overall this film just didn't stick the landing compared to what we got with the original trilogy. Coming in at number 8 is Mission to Mars. I recently watched this film for the first time and was surprised to see that Brian De Palma had directed this movie. It has a really strong setup for our mission to Mars and a rescue mission to save Don Cheadle, but the film is plagued by some trying to I guess tackle on some of these bigger ideas when it comes to Don Cheadle on Mars and the rescue mission. The set pieces are really good. The sense of adventure is very strong throughout. There are some weird designs at the end of the movie. It does have some emotional moments at the end of the film, but I really like Brian De Palma's style in here, really focusing on the characters and their relationships throughout, and the look at future from when this film was released to the time period that it was set in. I like the mission to Mars and the journey along the way and the adventure that these characters go through. It tackles on a little too much, and you just kind of wish for the movie to be over. Coming in at number 7 is Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. The latest installment in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise is an improvement over the 4th entry on Stranger Tides. I like Javier Bardem as our villain, and some of our new addition to the cast, the younger cast in here, work fairly well within the film. I do feel like Johnny Depp is just not really there so much within the film. Like he's just delivering a fine performance, not really giving it his all compared to the 4 films that we saw previously within it. I don't know if it was, tired of playing the character or whatever, but I just didn't feel that Jack Sparrow was as strong as other entries in the franchise. But this film is darker compared to On Stranger Tides. I like the tone, and that has a lot to do with Javier Bardem's performance as well. And the visuals for this character reminding me a lot of Davy Jones. And I guess the overall feel to this movie was more reminiscent of the trilogy compared to On Stranger Tides. Coming in at number 6 is The Haunted Mansion. This is the 2003 entry with Eddie Murphy. It's fun. At times it feels like it's a departure from the ride itself. There are a lot of references to the ride when it comes to the graveyard sequence. But Eddie Murphy's a lot of fun in here. The setup for him as a family man, as a realtor, and then venturing to this house. Terrence Stamp is in here, and Jennifer Tilly as Madame Leota. I like the cast in here, and it's got a fun, spooky Halloween vibe to it. I remember watching it a lot as a kid and as an adult. It's fine. It's a fun film. It's nothing groundbreaking. I think at times it struggles to get through its main plot. There's a lot of detours it takes throughout the film, and you feel like it's a pretty long film, but it's actually not a long film at all. It just takes a lot to get through. But the tone in here is creepy at times, but also you got some lighthearted moments coming from Eddie Murphy as he reacts to the house that is haunted and the ghosts throughout. It's really entertaining and just a pretty simple, innocent movie that I enjoyed as a kid and still fun to watch during the Halloween time. Coming in at number 5 is Haunted Mansion, the latest film that's based on a Disney ride. I feel like this movie nailed a lot of what I loved about Haunted Mansion, from a lot of the structure of the house to some scenes from the actual ride, the score, the ghosts. I thought it was really good. And we actually have a really deep story, emotional moments for our characters. One played by Lakeith Stanfield as he's dealing with grief. He lost his wife in the film. He has social anxiety. So a lot of that is easily relatable and makes this character one to root for, and you care about him throughout the film. But also the whole supporting cast from Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson. They're all really good in here, and they add a lot to the film, and we feel a strong connection to our characters. Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota really worked as well. Jared Leto as our villain. The whole story just works, has a nice flow to it, and some creepy moments throughout as well. This will be one that I want to watch every Halloween to get into the mood. Coming in 4th place is Jungle Cruise. This movie really surprised me. It's got a really great adventure to it. Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt have really good chemistry, and we have a story that at times feels a bit too complicated, but the adventure is there. The Jungle Cruise ride is a lot of fun as you go through a river, and you're on this cruise throughout the ride, and you see all these little animals along the way. This movie really incorporates that. As we're on our journey with Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, and they're encountering things along the way, that what makes it so fun. And it just adds so much to the adventure tone to this movie. And I feel like it's more of a film like Indiana Jones and The Mummy, and just a really simple film that is just focused on adventure. A lot of the sequences are thrilling, and this film was just a blast. I can't wait to see its sequel, but the Jungle Cruise really incorporated a lot of the ride in a fun, exciting way, and really building off of that and trying to develop a story. Despite at times the story going off in these weird directions, I really liked the focus on adventure and our characters throughout. Coming in 3rd place is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This film is a lot of fun. This is the 3rd Pirates of the Caribbean film, and at times it just bounces around to who's actually in charge. Is it Keira Knightley? Is it Orlando Bloom? Is it Jack Sparrow? Just back and forth. But everybody has like a clear agenda. Orlando Bloom's trying to find his father, and Jack Sparrow's got his own thing going on. There are a lot of big moments within this film. It does feel long. It does drag at times. One of the complaints that I've had, and I've read a lot of complaints about this film, is that it's just way too long. And it's sluggish at times. Like they're trying to add in new elements that felt a little unnecessary. Easily the weakest of the original trilogy, but still really entertaining. The visuals are so strong in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I've always been impressed with the action and the effects for this movie, and the cast is so strong in here. Each person has a chance to become very strong throughout and very independent as well. Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann and Will Turner, they have their chance to step up, be a leader, and then watching that dynamics work throughout the film. It's very strong within here. I remember seeing this at a drive-in movie theater and falling asleep because it was late at night. But this movie is still really entertaining, and I would be fine if it just ended there. because because 4 and 5 are not as good as these ones, or just continue having Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann within the film. Coming in second place is Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. This has such an iconic score. I've never really realized how iconic and good the score for Pirates of the Caribbean is. Great introduction to our characters within here, slowly building them up in the beginning of the film and slowly introducing them. Jack Sparrow, I felt like he had such a long sequence in the beginning for like the film actually started realizing the actual plot of the film, The Black Pearl. We had a nice build up in the beginning for Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann. But this film is so good. The writing is amazing in here. The dialogue is witty between our characters. The relationships, hot and cold. You don't know what you're going to get with this film. So it really keeps you on your toes. Very surprising relationships that develop and plot points as well. The action is really good, entertaining throughout the film. This is a film, when I saw it, I think it was like, 12 years old, 11, 12, that I just was enthralled by. I was so invested in like the characters and iconic, and the dialogue back and forth between the characters. I was blown away by this film, and I saw the first, and that leads nicely into the second film, which I consider to be the best Disney movie based on a ride. Dead Man's Chest is a lot of fun. I saw this on a date back in 2006. I was in middle school, and this movie stuck to me not because of the date, but just the movie itself. There are a lot of moments that just feel bigger than the first film. If it's with Davy Jones as our villain and his whole crew, or if it's some big action scenes with Jack Sparrow and Will Turner. Whatever it is, the movie just feels like it's taking the story to a next level, adding more depth to our characters, some emotional connection between Will Turner and his father, watching Elizabeth Swann become more of an independent character, Johnny Depp going back and forth, betraying people, whatever it is. This film is a lot of fun, and I recently just watched it, and I was like just captivated by this film and remembering how good it was. I haven't seen it in years, and so a lot of it just kind of just came back to me with how amazing this movie is. The original trilogy is a lot of fun, and the Pirates of the Caribbean ride too is a blast. Dead Man's Chest introduces a strong villain, a really intimidating villain of Davy Jones, a plot that moves nicely throughout. It's got really good pacing to it. The dialogue, once again, is very snappy between the characters, and the visuals are really dark at times. Dead Man's Chest is a really good sequel, and one of my favorite Disney movies as well. They're live action films, and I consider it to be the best film that is based on a Disney ride. So there you guys have it. All films based on a Disney ride ranked worst to best. Leave your ranking down below. What is your favorite one? Let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.